Hello everyone, thank you for joining me, Speedy's Legos and Collectibles. Today we will be reviewing something I have been looking forward to. This is the S.H.Figuarts Bandai Frieren from the Frieren Beyond Journey's End anime series. I am personally a big fan of this series, and I really like a lot of the characters. I'm really hoping that they will continue this line and give us maybe a Heiter and a Himmel and an Eisen, as well as Stark from the current trio in the anime. Moving on, you can see the packaging here, got the little Bandai logo and the kind of seal here showing that it is authentic. I did actually get this imported from Japan, so unfortunately I'm sure all the instructions and legalese will be in Japanese, which I unfortunately cannot read. Moving on, let's go ahead and free her from her plastic prison here. Just the standard box with multiple layers here. I will go ahead and cut this off screen real quick so that I don't damage anything. Looks like she's got a couple of spell effects in the back here and allow me to separate the tape in between layers. So let's lay this out here. Pretty cool. Let's get the figure herself out, and we will personally begin by reviewing Frieren herself. Alrighty, move her from the packaging. So at first impression, she looks really good. She's quite show accurate. The paint apps look pretty good on the face there. Just kind of got her normal resting face. They really kind of nailed all the paint application and details here for her outfit. You know, it's nothing too complex, but it's still nice to see it done properly. Have her actual undershirt, same. Everything just came together really well here. It also looks like that she might have a bit of articulation on the hair here. She does. So I guess you can kind of move that around if you want to maybe pose her with her hair blowing or some other kind of effect. But let's go ahead and get started on her articulation real quick. So it looks like her arms can go to about 90. You are hindered a bit by this kind of rubbery shoulder piece. It's not hard plastic, but I wouldn't want to push it too much higher, otherwise you might risk damaging the figure. But it'll hold a pose about 90 just fine. For arms, once again, this does kind of get in the way a little bit, but it does look like you can still go to 90 degrees on the actual elbows. They are double jointed. However, as I stated, you are going to have some issues with this cloth piece. You can work around it. There is kind of a separation here, so you can raise that up, which was good thinking on their part, but it still kind of hinders you from reaching up any higher to get near her head. And when you actually do try to put the arms, straight forward, it does raise up like pretty nicely, it seems. So that's a plus. Hands are a little limited because of the bulkiness of her sleeves here, which is a little unfortunate, but they are a standard ball peg. You can still move them around up or down, get most poses you need, but you are not going to be doing anything crazy with like some pointing too much of the hands there because of those sleeves, like I said. Her left arm here is the exact same thing, just about yay high. Actually, this one, no, about the same. She does have a butterfly joint down there as well, but you're not going to be needing to rock those too much while underneath that cloth. Same thing, push forward, bend to 90 degrees or even past if you need it to. Once again, you'd probably want to move this hair and get it out of the way when you're doing that. But anyway, moving on. Ab crunch. She can lean back pretty good, but almost no forward. And that's because this is kind of a harder rubber plastic, and then you got these kind of rubbery plastic bits in the way, and then the actual torso itself doesn't have a whole lot of room to move forward. It kind of gets pinched down inside there when you try to do it. So she's only going a tiny bit forward on the actual ab crunch there. Moving on to the legs, they do have a small split in the skirt here, so you actually should be able to kick out to the side. She can do the splits decently well, but you are going to have, you got to be careful not to pop these legs off the actual ball joints down here. Let me see if I can futz with this. Maybe I could move it more. I guess not. Well, actually, this is what I was just talking about. So if you pull too hard, the leg will pop off this actual ball joint down here. So I tried to make her do the splits more than she was meant to do, and that unfortunately happened. So allow me to return her leg real quick, as I'm sure Frieren would not approve of having her leg ripped off. Anyone who's owned a S.H.Figuarts before will know that these figures, while they aesthetically will always typically look amazing, they're not always the best in terms of raw posability. They're not like a Mezco using these cloth pieces, and they also tend to have, I would say, a lot of like anime characters. So they have like skirts and cloth pieces that oftentimes will directly get in your way when trying to pose something. So that's definitely something you need to keep in mind, that, you know, while the S.H.Figuarts will always look super, super good, sometimes they can be a little limited in posability, especially around like the legs and torso area due to these larger cloth robes. Moving on, continuing with the legs, she can kick pretty close, getting out to about 90 degrees there. So that's pretty good for a skirted figure. She does have a double joint in the knees, so you can bend her legs very nicely there. She does have ankle rocker and swivel on the actual bottom of her boots here, which is nice, as well as a rotation, you know, full 360. And she does have toe articulation, which is something I really appreciate. So you can kind of get her in the air, pointed toes, doing some kind of maybe crazy magic poses or whatever, you know. It's just nice to have the option. Something I really, really appreciate in figures. And I think the joints, honestly, are hidden pretty well. The kind of almost like attempt at making this look more seamless works really well down here in the lower legs. Obviously, the back of the figure, it's a little more obvious, but I think it still holds together really nicely. Moving on to her head, you can get a little bit up, a little down. Actually, down pretty good. You can make her look down pretty well, but looking up, not so much, just a hair. And you can 360-degree rotate her head. And like I said, since you do have these on an actual ball joint here, if you can see that, you can kind of move her hair around a bit freely and mess with the posing. So you're not restricted to just having it. Actually, this looks quite funny here, but you are not restricted to just having it sitting here resting in front of her actual head. She is very detailed, does have her earrings. Maybe those are from her master, but I will not mention anything further. At least I think they might be. And I also kind of forgot to mention, but she does have a 360-degree swivel there on her actual torso. Let's go ahead and move on to her other accessories here. She does have two additional kind of swappable hair pieces here. These are interchangeable with the ones on her head. So if you wanted to maybe make her hair sitting behind instead of resting in front, that is something that you can do. They just pop into little pegs, nothing complex here. You can put the hair behind her, which is probably how I will display her, so it's kind of not in the way there. And she does have, instead of multiple interchangeable heads, she has face plates, as you should be kind of familiar with any S.H.Figuarts. They don't really do alternate heads as much as they do alternate faceplates. And to change a faceplate is kind of the same for any S.H.Figuarts. You typically will remove some type of hairpiece, gently remove the faceplate off, and then we can just swap it out by pegging in the second face here. We'll go slide in there, and then we peg the hairpiece back on top. And now we have Frieren doing her kind of little ooh-woo face, or whatever you would call it. Just kind of her small smile and closed eyes there. That is an expression I feel she uses quite a bit in the show whenever she's embarrassed or done something silly or seeing something silly. So it's really nice to have that included here. The third head sculpt she has here is kind of this small open mouth, which I'll go ahead and slide onto the figure there. Just kind of her little maybe annoyed, mid-talking or kind of questioning face. You know, if you watch the show, you know, Frieren, she does not really show a ton of emotion in her face. Most of the time, she keeps kind of a neutral or only a small smile or small smirk on her face. So I think they really nailed that here with these head sculpts. As you can see, her happy face is just a very subtle smile that looks really nice. The paint application, like I said, is just really good for the eyebrows, the eyes themselves, the actual structure of the face, the nose, everything. And the ears, like, it really looks like she was pulled out of the anime, which is really nice to see. Moving on to her other accessories, she does, of course, come with her spell staff. As she is the mage, a 1,000-year-old extremely powerful elf mage, she does, of course, come with her signature staff. No cloth, just all hard plastic, but it is still a very nice inclusion, and the paint application is good. And the piece I kind of was fighting with a little bit at the start here is actually this very large, I would want to say, cast spell piece. She does come with this. It's, I guess, something you could either display her standing on, or you could maybe hold it up using the bits of the stand here to kind of make it look like she's shooting this one way or another. But I think the main purpose of this is for her to kind of stand on it, or maybe to display it behind her to look like she's, you know, like I said, casting a spell. Pretty sure that these bits here, which I will go ahead and set up real quick. Oh, I'm throwing hands everywhere. Don't throw hands, kids. It's not good for you. Yes, as I was saying, this does have a bit of a little clip piece here, so you can actually put this behind her. It does have a plastic film on it, but I'm refraining from removing that right this moment, but I'll do that when it goes in my own collection. But this is just so you can kind of put this down and then put her behind it and then make her holding her staff so it looks like she is in the middle of casting a spell. Quite a nice addition. She does come with this quite cute, quite lovely hand grasped together. You could also use this to make her hold hands with other characters if you wanted to, I believe. Maybe you can make it look like her and Fern are grabbing hands, but you can also use it to make her like she's holding her hands together when she's cold, which is something she does a lot in the show. The other hands that she does include are a grabbing hand for the actual staff itself, both right and left, and she does contain 2 fist hands, if you wanted to make her punching Stark, maybe, and her relaxed open hands. So all in all, I believe that this is an absolute hit by S.H.Figuarts. The paint application is good. The articulation is quite good, given what you are working with. She has a good variety for face options, for hands, and the spell effect is something that I think is quite cool. The only thing I feel is maybe lacking a little bit from this figure would be an actual stand to hold the figure herself. She does a lot of poses kind of in the air, flying or shooting spells from the in the air position. So I do feel that it's something that maybe they should have included here, one of their kind of clear standard figure stands with a waist grabber to kind of hold her in the air, to put this behind her to make it seem like she's shooting an actual spell. But other than that, I would consider this an absolute hit. And the second figure in this series is Fern, which I will actually be reviewing in my next video. And I will hopefully get them uploaded about the same time, so that way anyone who is curious and maybe likes my reviews can go and watch that. So thank you for joining me, and have a good rest of your day. Also, I hate to say this, but I will do the generic. If you enjoyed the video or you watched to the end, please like and subscribe. It helps me out immensely. I'm attempting to grow the channel here, and it's something I'm newer at, so any support is deeply appreciated. Bye-bye.